The Ark of the Covenant remains shrouded in an enduring mystery that has baffled historians and adventurers alike, vanishing after the Babylonian conquest in 586 BCE and leaving behind wild theories of it being stashed in a secret cave or spirited away as a divine artifact. Ancient texts hail it as a sacred relic, credited with leveling the walls of Jericho and parting the Jordan River, yet whispers persist that its lethal power hints at ancient technology, perhaps harnessing electricity or radioactivity. This duality, holy chest or weapon of mass destruction, fuels endless fascination, with declassified CIA files even hinting at psychic quests to uncover its resting place. High on Mount Sinai, God laid out a chilling blueprint to Moses, demanding the Ark of the Covenant be forged from acacia wood, a resilient desert survivor, with exacting instructions that scream divine precision. It was to be clad in pure gold, inside and out, fitted with 4 gold rings and carrying poles to keep it untouchable, crowned by a mercy seat where the divine would perch between golden cherubim. These weren't mere suggestions but a sacred mandate, hinting at a purpose so profound it required otherworldly craftsmanship to contain its power. The Book of Exodus unveils the Ark's specs like a celestial architect's sketch, 2.5 cubits long, 1.5 cubits wide and high, built from acacia wood and sheathed in pure gold, a gleaming testament to its sanctity. Atop it sat the mercy seat, flanked by 2 cherubim of hammered gold, wings spread wide, guarding a space where God's presence would dwell amidst a dazzling gold molding. Every measurement and material was non-negotiable, suggesting a design so intricate it might conceal secrets beyond mere devotion, perhaps a mechanism for divine or destructive force. Why acacia wood for the Ark? This desert-hardened timber, abundant in the Sinai desert, was prized for its near-indestructible nature, defying rot and time as if chosen to mirror the eternal laws it would cradle. Beyond practicality, ancient lore ties it to incorruptibility and immortality, a symbolic nod that this wasn't just a box but a vessel meant to endure through the Israelites' epic wanderings, and maybe beyond. Overlaying the Ark with pure gold, inside and out, wasn't a casual flourish. Artisans likely pounded gold into whisper-thin sheets, fusing them to acacia wood in a process lost to time, requiring jaw-dropping skill. This gold layering technique turned a wooden core into a radiant fortress, hinting at a craftsmanship so advanced it could rival modern metallurgy. Such meticulous work screams that the Ark was more than ceremonial. Its golden shell might have been engineered to contain or channel something dangerously potent. Perched atop the mercy seat, the cherubim, forged from hammered gold, stood as fierce sentinels, facing each other with wings arched high, a design straight from God's lips to Moses' ears. These weren't mere decorations. Scripture casts them as guardians of sacred spaces, like Eden's gatekeepers, suggesting they shielded a divine hotspot where God's throne hovered. Theologians argue this setup marked the Ark as a cosmic telephone, amplifying its mystique as a bridge between heaven and earth, or a trigger for something unearthly. The mercy seat, or capret, wasn't just a lid, it was the Ark's pulsing heart, where God promised to appear in a cloud, a hotline for the high priest to plead for the Israelites' souls. During the Day of Atonement, it became a blood-stained altar, a stark symbol of mercy wrested from judgment, tying the Ark to life and death stakes. Its theological weight as the epicenter of God's presence hints at a power so intense that even a misstep near it could mean instant oblivion. On the Day of Atonement, the high priest braved the Holy of Holies, sprinkling bull and goat blood on the mercy seat in a gut-wrenching ritual to cleanse the Israelites' sins before God. This wasn't just theater, the act turned the Ark into a cosmic bargaining table, where divine wrath met human repentance, securing another year of covenant peace. The mercy seat's role as a direct line to God made it the Ark's most dangerous feature, a sacred switchboard crackling with unseen energy. Biblical tales paint the Shekinah glory as God's divine presence, a blazing cloud hovering over the mercy seat between the cherubim, where Exodus 25 verse 22 says God spoke to Moses. When the tabernacle was raised in Exodus 40 verse 34, this glory of the Lord swallowed the space, and later, in 1 Kings 8 verse 10, it choked Solomon's temple, forcing priests to flee its intensity. This wasn't just light and smoke, it was a raw, tangible force, marking the ark as a beacon of power too wild to tame. Inside the Ark of the Covenant lay three treasures: the 2 stone tablets of the 10 Commandments, Aaron's rod that bloomed, and a pot of manna, each a relic of God's bond with Israel. The tablets sealed the covenant, the rod proved divine authority, and the manna recalled miraculous survival. Together, they made the ark a time capsule of faith and fury. These sacred contents weren't just keepsakes, they fueled theories that the ark held secrets capable of shaking empires or sparking cataclysms. The stone tablets etched with the 10 Commandments were the ark's raison d'etre, forged to house God's laws and dubbed the Ark of the Covenant for their unbreakable pact with Israel. Their presence turned a gilded box into the holiest artifact known, a physical vow that disobedience could unleash divine wrath, or worse. Scholars whisper that their centrality hints at a power source, maybe tied to the ark's rumored ability to zap foes dead in their tracks. After a rebellion challenged Aaron, God made his rod sprout buds and almonds overnight in Numbers 17, a miracle that landed it in the ark as proof of his priestly crown. This wasn't just a stick, it was a neon sign of divine favor, a warning to doubters that defying God's chosen meant trouble. Its place among the ark's relics amps up the idea that this chest doubled as a vault for objects pulsing with supernatural juice. A pot of manna joined the ark's stash per Exodus 16 verse 32, a gritty reminder of God's daily bread that kept the Israelites alive in the wilderness for 40 years. This wasn't mere nostalgia, it was a trophy of survival, proof that the divine could sustain or smite at will. Tucked inside, it bolsters the ark's mystique as a keeper of miracles, maybe even a clue to its lost tech. The Ark of the Covenant saga kicked off at Mount Sinai, trailed the Israelites to Canaan, parting the Jordan River, then camped at Shiloh before the Philistines snatched it, only to return it after plagues hit. It chilled in Kiriath Jearim until King David danced it to Jerusalem, where King Solomon locked it in the Holy of Holies, its last known address before it vanished into legend. Each stop on this biblical journey drips with drama, miracles, curses, and a disappearance that still has treasure hunters and psychics scouring the globe. For 40 years, Levites hauled the ark through the wilderness on poles slipped into gold rings, leading the Israelites like a war banner, until it flexed its muscle at the Jordan River, splitting waters on contact. At Jericho, priests circled it around the city for 7 days, and the walls crashed down, a stunt that screams the ark was no passive relic but a loaded gun. These Exodus wanderings cement its rep as a sacred juggernaut, so lethal that touching it wrong could fry you, making its lost whereabouts a tantalizing, terrifying riddle. Continuing its journey, the Ark of the Covenant performed another staggering feat at the edge of the Promised Land, halting the River Jordan in flood stage the moment the priest's feet touched the water. This miraculous event allowed the entire nation of Israel to cross on dry ground, demonstrating the Ark's undeniable power as a tool of divine intervention. The river crossing solidified its role not just as a container of sacred relics but as an active participant in Israel's destiny. Subsequently, the Ark became the centerpiece in the legendary Battle of Jericho, where priests carried it around the fortified city once a day for 6 days, followed by 7 circuits on the 7th day accompanied by trumpet blasts. As the final shout arose, the seemingly impenetrable walls of Jericho crumbled into dust, showcasing the Ark's potent ability to act as a sacred weapon. This dramatic fall of Jericho served as a terrifying testament to the power residing within or channeled by the Ark. After the conquest of Canaan, the Ark of the Covenant found a long-term home in the Shiloh sanctuary, establishing the site as Israel's primary religious center for centuries before the Jerusalem temple existed. This extended period at Shiloh saw the Ark housed within the tabernacle, tended by the priesthood under figures like Eli. It was here that pivotal events unfolded, shaping the relationship between the Israelites, their priests, and the Ark itself. However, the sanctity surrounding the Ark was dangerously undermined by Eli's sons, Hophni and Phinehas, whose corrupt actions desecrated their priestly duties and the sanctuary at Shiloh. Believing the Ark's mere presence guaranteed victory, these priests recklessly carried it into battle against the Philistines at Aphek without divine command. Their misconduct stemmed from arrogance, treating the Ark as a magical talisman rather than a sacred object demanding reverence. Amidst this corruption, a prophecy concerning the grim fate of Eli's house and the Ark was delivered through the young prophet Samuel within the Shiloh sanctuary. God revealed to Samuel that Eli's lineage would be cut off due to his son's blasphemy and his failure to restrain them, foretelling a devastating defeat and the Ark's capture. This divine warning underscored the consequences of disrespecting the covenant the Ark represented. Tragically, the prophecy unfolded exactly as foretold when the Israelites, carrying the Ark, suffered a catastrophic defeat. Hophni and Phinehas were slain, and the unthinkable happened: the Philistines captured the Ark on the battlefield. The loss plunged Israel into despair, symbolized by the death of Eli upon hearing the news, marking a dark chapter where God's perceived presence was seized by enemies. This Philistine capture demonstrated that the Ark was not an automatic source of protection when wielded improperly. Triumphantly carrying their prize, the Philistines placed the captured Ark in the temple of Dagon in the city of Ashdod, setting it beside the statue of their primary deity. However, the following morning, the idol of Dagon was found prostrate before the Ark, and on the second morning, it lay broken, its head and hands severed on the threshold. This Dagon temple incident served as a humiliating display, suggesting the Ark's power actively subdued even the gods of its captors. Following the Dagon incident, the Ark's presence brought not blessing but bane upon the Philistines, starting in Ashdod and continuing as they moved it to Gath and Ekron. A series of devastating plagues, widely interpreted as agonizing tumors or possibly bubonic plague accompanied by swarms of mice, afflicted the inhabitants of these Philistine cities. The escalating misfortunes created panic, revealing the deadly consequences of possessing the Ark without understanding its sanctity. Terrified and desperate to rid themselves of the Ark and its associated calamities, the Philistine priests and diviners devised a clever test to confirm the afflictions were divine punishment. They placed the Ark on a new cart drawn by two milch cows that had never been yoked and whose calves were penned back home, reasoning that only divine guidance could make them abandon their maternal instinct and travel towards Israel. This specific Ark's return method was designed as an undeniable sign, settling the debate about the source of their suffering. Remarkably, the cows pulling the cart traveled directly towards the Israelite border, arriving at the town of Beth Shemesh, confirming the Ark's divine power and the source of the Philistine plagues. The Israelites of Beth Shemesh rejoiced at its unexpected return, but their initial celebration soon turned tragic, prompting them to send the Ark away. Subsequently, the Ark was transported to Kirjath Jearim, where it would remain for a considerable time. The joyous reunion at Beth Shemesh turned into a horrifying tragedy when a significant number of its inhabitants, tradition says 70 men, were struck down dead by God. Their fatal mistake, according to Scripture, was improperly looking into or perhaps touching the Ark, a stark reminder of the immense danger and stringent protocol surrounding the sacred object. This devastating event underscored that even for the Israelites, irreverence towards the Ark invited lethal consequences. Fearing its power after the Beth Shemesh tragedy, the ark was taken to Kirjath-jearim and entrusted to the household of a man named Abinadab, whose son Eleazar was consecrated to guard it. The ark resided in Abinadab's house on a hill for an extended period, generally considered to be 20 years, marking a quiet phase in its known history. During this long stay, the ark remained largely out of the national spotlight until King David sought to bring it to his new capital. Years later, King David resolved to consolidate Israel's political and religious life by bringing the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem, his chosen capital city. His successful Jerusalem arrival with the Ark marked a pivotal moment, transforming the city into the undisputed religious center of the nation. This move aimed to centralize worship and demonstrate David's devotion, linking his kingship directly to God's presence. However, David's initial attempt to transport the ark ended in disaster due to Uzzah's fatal error, highlighting the perils of improper handling learned centuries before. When the oxen pulling the cart stumbled, Uzzah reached out to steady the ark and was immediately struck dead for touching the sacred object, a violation of the strict rules requiring it be carried by poles. This shocking incident deeply affected David, causing him to halt the procession and temporarily house the ark outside Jerusalem out of fear. Learning from Uzzah's death, David's second attempt to bring the ark into Jerusalem was meticulously planned and executed with profound reverence and joyful procession. The ark was carried properly by Levites using poles, sacrifices were offered every 6 steps, and David himself famously danced and celebrated with uninhibited joy before the ark as it entered the city. This successful and exuberant celebration demonstrated the appropriate combination of awe, respect, and gladness required when engaging with the divine presence symbolized by the ark. Following its triumphant but perilous journey, the Ark of the Covenant reached its zenith of significance during the Solomon's Temple era, destined for the First Temple's most sacred core. Installing the Ark within the Holy of Holies by King Solomon signified establishing a permanent, terrestrial dwelling place for the divine presence among the Israelites. This act centralized worship and anchored the nation's identity to God's covenant symbolized by the ark housed in unprecedented splendor. Indeed, the ark was the undeniable focal point of the lavish dedication ceremony for Solomon's temple, carried with immense reverence into the newly completed Holy of Holies. As the priests emerged after placing the ark, a breathtaking divine sign reportedly manifested. The glory of the Lord, described as a thick cloud, filled the entire temple, preventing the priests from ministering. This event was taken as God's acceptance of the temple as his house and the ark's final earthly destination. The theological significance attached to the ark residing permanently within the temple's innermost sanctuary, the Holy of Holies, cannot be overstated. It represented the culmination of Israel's journey, God's enduring promise and presence fixed at the heart of the nation in Jerusalem. This permanent dwelling place reinforced the belief that God's covenant was steadfast and his presence accessible, albeit through strict priestly mediation, from this central point. Furthermore, the historical account detailed in 1 Kings 8 provides a crucial contents confirmation regarding what remained within the ark by the time it reached Solomon's temple. The scripture explicitly states, "There was nothing in the ark except the 2 tablets of stone that Moses put there at Horeb," settling questions about whether Aaron's rod or the pot of manna were still inside. This detail underscores the primary importance of the Decalogue as the core representation of the covenant housed within the ark. Transitioning from its residence to its inherent nature, numerous biblical accounts and subsequent interpretations paint a vivid picture suggesting the ark possessed an extraordinary, almost volatile, and potentially dangerous power. Incidents involving sudden death for improper contact, like the fate of Uzzah or the men of Beth Shemesh, fueled beliefs that the ark channeled a raw, divine force demanding absolute reverence. These narratives firmly established the ark not just as sacred, but as an object imbued with lethal power. Investigating further, various manifestations of power described in biblical texts are attributed directly to the arkansas. These phenomena range from the lethal consequences observed when protocols were breached, to instrumental roles in military campaigns like the fall of Jericho, and even inflicting devastating plagues upon the Philistines who captured it. The sheer diversity of these effects highlights the multifaceted and terrifying nature of the ark's power as recorded. Specifically, the lethal sanctity of the ark is starkly illustrated by incidents such as the shocking deaths of Aaron's sons Nadab and Abihu for offering unauthorized fire, Uzzah for touching the ark to steady it, and the men of Beth Shemesh for gazing upon it improperly. These accounts served as grim object lessons, demonstrating the deadly consequences of violating the strict boundaries set for approaching or handling the arkansas. Its holiness was absolute, and proximity without authorization or reverence invited immediate divine retribution. While the fall of Jericho stands as the most famous example, other instances hint at the ark's presence being linked to Israelite victory or divine intervention in battle. The Philistines themselves expressed terror before fighting the Israelites at Aphek, recalling God's mighty acts associated with the ark in the wilderness, indicating its reputation as a potent military success aid. Though that specific battle ended in disaster due to Israelite misconduct, the belief in the ark's battlefield efficacy remained a powerful undercurrent. Delving into the descriptions themselves, subtle clues in biblical descriptions might hint at tangible physical phenomena like light, sound, or energy emanating from the arkansas. The account of God speaking to Moses from between the cherubim on the ark's mercy seat suggests sound, while the Shekinah glory cloud filling the tabernacle and temple implies intense light or energy. These fragments fuel speculation about the concrete physical nature of the ark's perceived power. Consequently, these descriptions have led some modern theorists to reinterpret the ark's power through the intriguing lens of potential ancient technology, moving beyond purely theological explanations. They posit that the effects attributed to divine intervention, lethal discharges, communication, destructive force, might be better understood as functions of a sophisticated device created by a highly advanced, perhaps forgotten, civilization. These interpretations view the biblical accounts as observations of technology misunderstood by the people of the time. One prominent speculative theory flowing from this technological perspective suggests the ark functioned similarly to a large electrical capacitor or Leyden jar, accumulating and discharging immense electrical energy. Proponents cite the ark's construction, gold plating inside and out acting as conductive layers separated by insulating acacia wood, and the lethal effects on those like Uzzah who touched it, as interpretations supporting this electrical capacitor theory. The requirement for insulating poles during transport further bolsters this electrifying hypothesis. Another technological interpretation focuses on the astonishing account of Jericho's walls falling, proposing an acoustic weapon hypothesis. This idea suggests the ark, perhaps in conjunction with the circling priests and trumpet blasts, operated as a powerful sonic or vibrational device. According to these technological interpretations, focused sound waves or induced resonance could have theoretically caused the structural failure of Jericho's walls, presenting the miracle as an application of advanced physics. Moreover, based on repeated accounts of communication occurring near the ark's mercy seat, where God purportedly spoke to Moses, intriguing theories propose the ark might have functioned as an advanced communication apparatus. Speculation ranges from it acting as a receiver for divine transmissions to potentially being a two-way device facilitating contact between human leadership and a divine or extraterrestrial source. This communication device idea attempts to explain the intimate dialogues associated with the ark through a technological framework. Regardless of its true nature, the perceived dangerous nature of the ark necessitated extremely strict protocols and ritual purity laws governing who could handle or approach it. These rules extended beyond mere reverence, detailing precise methods of transport using poles to avoid direct contact and restricting access to the Holy of Holies where it resided to only the high priest, once per year, after extensive purification. These meticulous handling protocols underscore the constant awareness of the peril associated with the sacred object. Central to these protocols was Levite exclusivity. Divine decree mandated that only specific Levite clans, namely the Kohathites, were permitted to transport the ark, reflecting their sacred charge. Their precise instructions, detailed in the Book of Numbers, involved waiting until the priests had fully covered the ark and its implements before entering to lift it using the poles inserted into its rings. This Kohathite responsibility, coupled with the strict prohibition against touching the ark itself, highlights the immense care required in its handling. Building upon these strict handling rules, access to the ark's permanent home, the Holy of Holies, was the ultimate restriction, granted exclusively to the high priest. This solemn entry was permitted only once a year during Yom Kippur, the sacred Day of Atonement, underscoring the immense sanctity and danger associated with the ark's immediate presence. The high priest had to perform specific blood rituals and generate a cloud of incense, lest he perish before the divine presence residing above the ark. Subsequently, the ultimate fate of the Ark of the Covenant plunges into one of history's most enduring mysteries, marking its disappearance search as a centuries-long enigma. Historical records definitively mentioning the Ark cease around the time of the Babylonian conquest of Jerusalem, leaving its whereabouts shrouded in speculation. The leading theories contend it was either secreted away before the invasion, destroyed during the temple's sacking, or possibly transported elsewhere entirely, sparking relentless quests for the lost Ark. Pinpointing the last historical mention with certainty is challenging, but many scholars point to a reference during the reign of King Josiah, as documented in 2 Chronicles 35 verse 3, around 622 BCE. In this passage, Josiah instructs the Levites to return the ark to its place in Solomon's temple, suggesting it might have been temporarily moved, possibly for safety during earlier turmoil or temple renovations. After this instruction, reliable biblical references to the ark's presence vanish, paving the way for its mysterious disappearance from the historical narrative. Intriguingly, the detailed lists compiled during the Babylonian conquest clue strongly into the ark's fate through its conspicuous absence. When Nebuchadnezzar's forces plundered Jerusalem and Solomon's temple around 587 BCE, meticulous inventories were made of the captured treasures, as recorded in 2 Kings 25 and Jeremiah 52, listing items like gold and silver vessels, pillars, and the bronze sea. Yet, the Ark of the Covenant, arguably the most sacred object, is never explicitly mentioned among the spoils taken to Babylon, suggesting it was already gone or hidden. Further adding to the mystery, the contemporary prophet Jeremiah's prophecy offered a startling perspective on the ark's future relevance. In Jeremiah 3 verse 16, he prophesied a time when the Ark of the Covenant would no longer be remembered, sought after, or even remade, suggesting its central role in worship would cease. This prophecy, delivered before the temple's destruction, could imply divine knowledge of its impending disappearance or hint that its spiritual significance would be superseded. Given its absence from the plunder lists and Jeremiah's words, several leading location theories have emerged over the millennia, attempting to pinpoint the ark's hidden location. The most persistent speculations involve it being buried beneath Jerusalem's Temple Mount, hidden by Jeremiah on Mount Nebo, or transported secretly to Ethiopia. Each theory draws upon ancient texts, local traditions, and interpretations of historical events, creating a tapestry of possibilities for where the ark might rest. One compelling theory centers on Mount Nebo hiding, drawing heavily from the apocryphal Second Book of Maccabees. This text claims the prophet Jeremiah, forewarned of the Babylonian invasion, took the ark, the tent of meeting, and the altar of incense and hid them within a cave on Mount Nebo, the mountain from which Moses viewed the promised land. Jeremiah purportedly sealed the entrance and declared the location would remain unknown until God regathered his people, providing a specific narrative for its concealment. Alternatively, a potent belief persists that the Ark remains entombed in a Temple Mount secret chamber, hidden deep beneath its original location in the Holy of Holies. Rabbinic traditions and some archaeological speculation suggest a network of tunnels and vaults exists beneath the sacred platform, potentially constructed by Solomon precisely to safeguard the Ark during times of crisis. However, the extreme political and religious sensitivities surrounding the Temple Mount render any serious archaeological investigation currently impossible, leaving this theory tantalizingly unverified. Perhaps the most famous and insistent claim originates from the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, forming the Ethiopian claim's strongest narrative for possessing the actual Ark of the Covenant. Their national epic, the Kebra Nagast or Glory of Kings, provides the textual foundation, asserting the Ark has resided in Aksum for centuries. This deeply held belief is central to their faith and national identity, making the Ethiopian claim a significant element in the ongoing search. The core of the Ethiopian tradition revolves around the Menelik I legend, a captivating story detailed in the Kebra Nagast. According to this account, the Queen of Sheba visited King Solomon in Jerusalem, and from their union, Menelik I was born. Later, as a young man visiting his father, Menelik supposedly took the true Ark of the Covenant, or in some versions, a divine replica while the original remained, back to Ethiopia. This journey established a Solomonic dynasty in Ethiopia and secured the Ark's presence in Aksum, according to the legend. The profound chapel secrecy Aksum enforces around the object claimed to be the Ark adds layers of intrigue and frustration for historians and searchers alike. Housed within the nondescript chapel of the tablet adjacent to the main St. Mary of Zion Church in Aksum, the relic is guarded by a single, lifelong monk who is the only person allowed to see it. This absolute secrecy, justified as necessary to protect the sacred object's power, prevents any external verification of the Ethiopian claim. Beyond the major theories, several other location speculations propose even more far-flung resting places for the elusive Arkansas. Some traditions connect it to the Hill of Tara in Ireland, suggesting Jeremiah transported it there, while the Lemba tradition in Zimbabwe and South Africa speaks of their ancestors carrying a powerful drum-like artifact, the Ngoma Lungundu, from the Middle East, which some equate to the Arkansas. Less substantiated theories also propose locations in Egypt, Europe, or even America, highlighting the global fascination with the relic. This enduring mystery has inevitably inspired various modern search efforts, ranging from scholarly research to more adventurous, sometimes clandestine, undertakings. While large-scale, officially sanctioned searches are rare due to religious and political obstacles, numerous individuals and private groups, fueled by faith or the allure of discovery, have pursued leads across the globe. These efforts have included textual analysis, geographical surveys, and even unconventional methods like the declassified CIA files revealing psychic effort through remote viewing programs aiming to locate the Ark. Despite persistent interest, concrete results from archaeological investigations specifically targeting the Ark remain elusive, often hampered by severe limitations. While excavations have occurred near the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, exploring ancient water systems and foundation structures, none have claimed or been proven to find the Ark itself due to access restrictions on the mount proper. Similarly, potential sites in Ethiopia, Egypt, or elsewhere are either inaccessible or digs have yielded no definitive evidence, leaving the Ark's physical location unconfirmed by credible archaeology. Among the most publicized yet controversial modern search narratives are the Ron Wyatt claims, made by the late amateur archaeologist Ron Wyatt. He asserted in the 1980s that he had discovered the Ark of the Covenant hidden in a chamber directly beneath the purported site of Christ's crucifixion at Golgotha, just outside Jerusalem's walls. Wyatt claimed extraordinary findings, including seeing the ark and the tablets of stone, but his assertions lack verifiable evidence and documentation, leading mainstream archaeology to dismiss his controversial claims entirely. Shifting focus to unconventional avenues, declassified CIA documents have shockingly revealed covert programs like Project Stargate, which explored using psychic abilities for intelligence gathering during the Cold War. These operations included attempts at remote viewing, a purported mental technique to perceive distant or hidden objects, with targets sometimes including legendary artifacts like the Ark of the Covenant. The very existence of these declassified files confirms the agency's serious, albeit highly speculative, effort to locate powerful objects through psychic intelligence. Delving into the specifics, remote viewing attempts detailed in Stargate files involved individuals trained to mentally access information about designated targets, such as the Arkansas. The methodologies often required viewers to enter altered states of consciousness and describe or sketch their impressions regarding the object's location or condition, sometimes yielding vague descriptions of underground chambers or symbolic imagery related to the Arkansas. However, the results concerning the Ark specifically were inconsistent and ultimately unverifiable, providing no actionable intelligence despite the structured psychic protocols. Consequently, the CIA's internal assessment regarding the reliability of using psychic intelligence to find artifacts like the Ark reflected significant skepticism, despite initial curiosity. Performance evaluations within Project Stargate often highlighted the low accuracy and inconsistency of remote viewing data, particularly for complex historical searches lacking ground truth for verification. This difficulty in achieving verifiable success contributed to the agency's conclusion that psychic intelligence was not a dependable tool for locating legendary items like the Ark. Despite the dead ends encountered by intelligence agencies, the Ark of the Covenant continues to exert a powerful hold on the contemporary imagination, transcending its ancient origins. Its enduring relevance stems from its potent blend of theological weight, historical mystery, and speculative possibilities regarding lost power or technology. This unique combination ensures the Ark remains a recurring motif in popular culture, academic discussions, and the quest for understanding the past today. Specifically, the ongoing theological significance of the Ark, or its powerful memory, varies across denominations intimately connected to its story. Within Judaism, while the physical Ark's absence is deeply felt, representing the loss of God's manifest presence, contemporary worship does not hinge on its recovery. In much of mainstream Christianity, the Ark serves as an important Old Testament symbol, often seen as foreshadowing Mary, but its physical existence holds less direct theological weight than its typology, whereas for Ethiopian Orthodoxy, the object claimed to be the Ark, Tablet, in Aksum is the absolute center of faith and worship. Furthermore, certain strands within Judaism and Christianity weave the Ark's reappearance into messianic expectations and end-times events, adding another layer to its mystique. Some Jewish beliefs, particularly those focused on the rebuilding of the Temple, anticipate the Ark's rediscovery as a key element in the Messianic era, based on interpretations of prophecies concerning hidden sacred vessels. Similarly, some literalist Christian interpretations incorporate the Ark's potential return into end-time scenarios, viewing it as a significant sign. Beyond broader religious contexts, the Ark claim is exceptionally central to the religious and national identity of Ethiopia, functioning as a unique and powerful symbol. The Kabra Nagast narrative, detailing Menelik I bringing the Ark from Jerusalem, forms a cornerstone of Ethiopian self-understanding, linking their heritage directly to Solomon and biblical history. This belief underpins Ethiopia's distinct Christian tradition and reinforces a sense of divine favor and historical continuity integral to their national identity. From a secular perspective, the Ark endures as a profoundly compelling unsolved mystery for historians and archaeologists, primarily due to the stark discrepancy between its detailed biblical descriptions and its utter disappearance from the record. This abrupt vanishing act, coupled with the lack of definitive extrabiblical corroboration or archaeological discovery, presents a tantalizing historical puzzle. The challenge of reconciling the rich textual tradition with the silence of the material record keeps the Ark at the forefront of archaeological enigmas. Indeed, significant evidence interpretation challenges plague any serious study of the Ark's existence and fate, contributing to its mystery. The primary difficulties lie in assessing the historical reliability of the textual sources, mainly the Hebrew Bible, and the almost complete lack of unambiguous external corroboration from contemporary ancient Near Eastern texts or inscriptions. Furthermore, the absence of direct archaeological evidence necessitates reliance on tradition, legend, or circumstantial findings, making scholarly consensus on the Ark's fate elusive. Ultimately, this blend of religious fervor, historical enigma, and the sheer allure of discovery provides powerful motivations for the continued interest and occasional searches for the Ark, despite the lack of conclusive evidence. For believers, finding the Ark would be a profound validation of faith. For historians and adventurers, it represents the ultimate archaeological prize. This persistent hope, fueled by compelling narratives and the potential for rewriting history, ensures the search for the Ark continues against formidable odds.